Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am your planetary defense commander, Star-Lord New Thor 7, the T, and we are tracking the tropics because we have potential tropical cyclone number 9, and it is a giant, chunky beast that is slowly starting to slow and get developed. But I would like to remind you that this is 2020, and 2020 is quite a year. So we have a wave after that, and you have a wave after that. So it is definitely a wave after wave after wave, period. And what I do is I bust my butt monthly, and hopefully it returns back to me as I have a fundraiser every month at the beginning of the month to keep doing what I do to bring you guys the information almost 24/7. If you would like to donate, I have a snail mail. I love snail mail. A PayPal, a Venmo, a CashApp, and a Patron, and only $1,654 left to raise with 6 days left to go. So if you'd like to contribute, it would be greatly appreciated. But this thing is definitely huge, and it is moving towards Puerto Rico and then possibly Hispaniola, which would be really, really good news. In some circles, Hispaniola, also known as Haiti and the Dominican Republic, is extremely mountainous and is known as a hurricane killer. And so we could definitely use a hurricane killer in this situation. This is definitely a weird storm. Models have started to track west with it, and as I said last night, it's pretty much definitely going to hit the United States of America in some form or fashion. So I would pray for a weak-ass tropical storm, but I would prepare like it is a Category 2, Category 3 that might be coming your way. So have a plan, and in case there is a worst-case scenario, on its track, I had guessed that it would pop over the islands and then form and go up this way like this. But right now, actually, it looks like it is headed south of the islands, which would bring it wester into these more west tracks, which would technically be good news because it would bring it over all of the islands, including the Turcos and Caicos and Cuba, and which would pretty much prevent it to developing anything other than a big tropical rainstorm, which would be a best case scenario in my opinion. But this is a pretty strange storm, and models have its widening field anywhere from Louisiana all the way up into the New York option. So it is definitely best for everybody to pay attention because, if it, like I said, if it pops over the islands, then it has a chance to develop. If it pops below the islands, then it has a chance to develop. If it stays over all these islands, then it wouldn't have much of a chance to develop. We're looking at a late Saturday, Sunday type of a mainland interaction. It definitely has a big beastly look to it, so if it were to start to develop in any type of way, it would definitely be dangerous. Precipitable water is my favorite way to track storms of these nature, and you can see that it has got a whole bunch of rain involved with it. So if it does start to develop at some point, it would be extremely problematic. And then we look at the storms behind it, as we've got a giant moisture wave coming off Africa. But it's kind of hard to find the area of low pressure on this map. But it seems to be moving at a pretty fast clip. How are you doing today? This morning, gorgeous? Man, those Scorpio moons always tear me up. But look at this. Like, you could see how if it avoided the islands, this thing could definitely become a total terror. And it's weird that so little is known about the path or possibly intensity of the storm, although most models have backed off of it becoming a hurricane in any fashion. But, models tend to get things wrong sometimes. Remember, the models didn't think Hannah was going to develop, and it only took Hannah like 48 hours to develop, so I think all it would need to reach hurricane form would be about 24 to 36 hours over water without any type of land interaction. But right now, it appears to be taking a better, safer track for the people involved, which would be pretty much everybody from here. So that's good news, but it's 2020, so don't get too excited yet. We got to keep watching this thing like a hawk. first sunlight over the storm shows us that it's definitely monster size, dude. It's the size of a couple good old USA states. Man, I gotta get my sense of humor back. Finding the low in this thing is like a game of Where's Waldo. I guess it's more like Where's PTC? Possible future ICS is ice or whatever. Right now we're looking at the euro, and you can see that by going over the islands, this would have the low be about here somewhere. By going over the hurricane killer directly, that would extremely inhibit the chance of it becoming anything super major or even possibly a hurricane. So we would get our miracle in the form of a weak-ass tropical storm, and that would be wonderful, because the last thing everybody needs right now is a hurricane headed towards Florida, the East Coast, or even the Gulf. See, this would have it be torn to shreds by Hispaniola. This is water vapor, and it is humid out there. But yeah, we got multiple waves that we'll have to be watching. This is going to be quite a hurricane season. Now that we've been hit by one hurricane, and then we barely got missed by the Hurricane Douglas in Hawaii, we're going to need to be on guard for the whole season, really. But look at the water moisture blow up. And then you got major massive flooding coming up through the Midwest. Or Middle East, Middle East USA, there you go. Yeah, I agree with Natasha Bright. The flooding situation is going to end up being super lame. But we're talking about heavy rainfall forecast into next week. Our attention remains fixed on the area stretching from the mid-Mississippi Valley across the Tennessee Valley into the southern Appalachians, where heavy rain and potential flash flooding is expected. Rainfall amounts could exceed 5 inches. So, if you throw in heavy rain here and then heavy rain coming up through here, we could definitely be getting into major flood problems in the near future. Michael J. Ventris, the good news with AL09. What does the AL stand for? I'm tired this morning, but I'm waking up. Is that the disturbance is anticipated to interact with the mountains of Hispaniola. This topography, not to be confused with Topo Chico, which is like some weird cult that people have. They're like, I drink a light, refreshing, sparkling water. You should too. It's called Topo Chico. Has been known to be a hurricane killer. So that's good news, as the elevation interferes with any tropical disturbances. So let us pray that it heads over La Hispaniola. I know I'm pronouncing it wrong. Dadabu, the Florida Wave Master, talking about a fork in the road. Who remembers the reasoning for keeping Mona Passage open? This will be the next thing to watch for. This can lead to the highway to the danger zone, potential Tropical Cyclone 9 under blanket of Saharan African layered dust or whatever, and up against a wall of shear, steady as she goes. So she is dealing with some dust. She's dealing with some shear, and she will be headed over, hopefully, the Espanola Mountain Killer Range. But stay tuned, man. Hurricane Tracker app doesn't see PTC9 gaining as much latitude as forecast in the next 24 hours. If I had to draw a cone, it would be something like this. More west than what the National Hurricane Center is showing. Center south of Puerto Rico and scrapes southern coast of Haiti, DR. We will see how well this holds up. And so that would, like, yeah, it's actually been staying south of what the model's predicting consistently. So, like, a worst case scenario would be if it stayed south of the hurricane killer and then popped up through here. But, like, we will have to keep track and pay attention, because this sort of thing will be on our doorstep late Saturday, early Sunday. Yeah, here comes the tilt, the axis, and the spin. A main wave can break off main axis and get into the Bahamas, while main body heads towards the Western Caribbean. But PTC9 is much better organized this morning and may be on its way to getting upgraded to our next tropical storm, Isaias. The day before the day is over, it has slowed down just a bit as well. And so we will be paying attention to the track of this thing. I will be hyper-focusedly tracking it all day. And barring hacker problems, I should be giving you guys updates every 3 hours or so, because the next 48 hours are probably going to be definitely the most important on what will be happening with this storm. Like I say, we're going to get hit by something. Is it going to be a tropical storm? Is it going to be a hurricane? Right now, it looks like it would be a tropical storm, but, it's 2020. Anything can happen. But keep praying, because the last thing we need now is a major hurricane, or even just a hurricane that would make people need to evacuate in a plague-type scenario. And if you'd like to contribute to reward me for all my work last month, or this year in 2020, or even the 7.8 years I've been doing this, I would really appreciate it, because I love my job, and this is my job. So you can send a letter to my snail mail. I love snail mail. Love it. I got a PayPal, Venmo, CashApp, Patron. Only got $1,654 left to raise with 6 days left to go. And a special super shout out to Mikey T, Andy, Robert, Bennett, Matthew, Jess, Angel, Wagon Breath, and Dan. Y'all are consistently awesome and amazing. Asteroid Fight Club. I love y'all. You guys are great. And 2020 is quite a year, huh? Frank's weather, PTC9 has very impressive convection this morning, but its main problem remains the lack of development. LLC Recon was unable to find one overnight. Another mission is headed out currently where they may find one, but it could take a bit longer for PTC9 to develop. And so, yeah, I think this has a very sneaky factor to it. So at this point, where it will go exactly, nobody knows. But let us hope it goes over the Hurricane Killer Island. The ocean heat content is very high for the Bahamas to eastern Florida up to the Carolinas. If PTC9 tracks into that region, watch out. But for now, there's a variety of possible outcomes. Yeah, I don't think I ever remember a storm being this close to potential landfall and having so much unknown about it. Like I said, if it pops over the Hispaniola and heads north, that would be the worst case scenario. Having it stay over the islands would be best case scenario, because if it did this, it would stay a weak-ass tropical storm. But if it popped out over here or pops out over here, then we could be dealing with a hurricane. So everybody stay cool. I love you. God bless everyone. Let's have a great day and enjoy the Sagittarius moon, because Sagittarius is rule. All right. Peace out.